welcome to the Empower Hour, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. It's Friday, right on. My show got moved to 3 o'clock on Friday. Of course, that's why we're here. I am super stoked. I'm here with Pauline, Felicia, and Stacy. These are all girls that I train with at Fitness Reigns. They're my new bikini family. Super excited about it. I thought we would talk about a variety of different things today. We all love to train. We all train together on a regular basis. We've gotten pretty close. Felicia has her first bikini show coming up next week, Stingray. So it's been really intense and fun. And we all are just on different fitness paths and we have different fitness goals and we just love fitness. So that's why we're here. So why don't you guys each introduce yourself and we'll go down the line. Pauline's been on the show before. She was here with Chris Reigns because that's where we train is at Fitness Reigns. So we'll hear about you again.
I'm with these girls, training, I guess leading up to Felicia and another one of our training partners, Amy's competition next Friday. And we put this group together pretty much to get the girls to experience what training for a specific competition looks like. And Miley's definitely brought a whole new energy to our group. And
Yay.
I'm so glad we were able to come together for this.
That wasn't a good shot. That's a better shot. There are, how many others? 7 of us?
Yes.
So we're missing, of course, the rest of the girls. I'm not great at math, but
3.
3. More than that. Oh no, 3. Yeah.
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
My name's Felicia. My background is actually in marketing and sociology. I'm getting my master's at UH actually in social media right now, social media marketing. I joined Fitness Reigns probably about a year and a half ago, I want to say. And since then, it's just kind of been a very physical and mental journey. And I think it was November, I actually decided to do this competition with the support of the team. So now here I am.
And Stacy.
My name's Stacy, and I joined Fitness Reigns I think a couple months after Felicia. My background is in graphic design, and I was recently brought on to the bikini competitor team with the girls, and it's been a really fun journey. Lots of sore days.
So tell me about your experience so far, because we each have a different experience, so we can just like popcorn around you guys. I know Felicia, you're probably gonna have like the best say in this because this is your first time really having intense training, right? Mm-hmm. And really having a goal with your training. So what got you interested in wanting to do this? Because when you do bikini or you do like a fitness show, it's completely different than just training, just going in and saying, I'm going to do CrossFit today or I'm going to go to yoga. I mean, you have to go in and bust butt and have improvements or you're not going to do well. So I'm always like really intrigued as to why somebody just decides that they're going to do it. I mean, because I was one of those people.
Yeah.
But now I want to hear what you.
I mean, I was definitely one of those people that kind of just went to the gym just because, I mean, it's a no-brainer that, you know, you want to stay healthy. That's why people kind of go to 24-hour fitness and the UFCs and, you know what I mean, those kind of chain gyms and just kind of figure out what to do. And makes you feel good that you have a gym membership because you feel like you should, you know. But then I would go in there and I would be on the treadmill or the elliptical for 45 minutes to an hour and just kind of feel like it wasn't enough. And I'm really definitely one of those people that needs structure, needs instruction.
That's how I am too.
Right, and I just didn't know enough about what my body's doing and if an hour on the treadmill is actually even helping me.
See, that's a problem I see a lot, and like, I know we're young, but I hope that my opinion will help people out there, and I hope that we start getting a change, is that there's not enough information out there. People aren't getting the information that they need to actually understand how their body's working and what the mechanics are and how to make the changes. So if you don't understand something, go educate yourself, get online, research it, help yourself understand it so that you know what's going on. That's my advice for you out there. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, totally. You know, and that's definitely what, I mean, well, I started at the gym because my boyfriend was training with Chris, who's the owner, and so he was fighting at the time, so he was getting his conditioning from that, and he would come home and kind of tell me about it, and that's where I would kind of learn more about, like, oh, there's a little bit more to it than I just have to be sweating and out of breath by the end of it, you know what I mean? So then I joined the gym, and then my body just kind of plateaued. Once I figured out, wow, this is something that I can do, my body got used to it, and then I was like, okay, well, what can I change? Then you change your diet, and then you plateau again. You're like, okay, what can I do? And then Pauline kind of said, I think you need more targeted training. If you really want to see where your body can go and what it can do, why don't you take the next approach, which may be, competitive fitness. And so that's how I got into kind of looking into what this whole, bikini competition world is, and it's definitely not the Hooters bikini competition. You know what I mean? This is
and I hate that.
so specific.
People are
Yeah.
like, oh, you walk around in a bathing suit, and I'm like, no, I lift heavy stuff and I put it back down all the time, and we work our butts off.
Yeah, no, it's tough work, and so I think that the benefit for me was just kind of learning about how the body works, and really, just genetics for me. I come from a family of high cholesterol, diabetes. My dad and his side of the family, they're all overweight, and that's something that I was like, okay, I need to try to beat this because it's obviously in my blood. You know what I mean?
And you're different because not everybody's like that. A lot of people will fall into a pattern of this is how my family is, this is what I'm used to, this is how we eat, that's the way we do it. So what was your mindset with that? Like, how did you grow up like that a lot of times, or majority of the time, and then you had this switch?
No, well, that's where the mental part came in, because growing up, I was actually really petite and really small. My mom's Filipino, my dad's Dutch, so my dad's a big, broad man, and then my mom's this little tiny thing. But I definitely, took after my dad in the big boned area, you know what I mean? So my frame is not very small, but so, growing up, I was really small as a kid, and then once I hit puberty, everything filled out, and I was like, what happened? Hey, I can't eat Cheetos for breakfast anymore. And and then you kind of see the results of that, and then that's really where the mental part of it came in, because I'm definitely the type of person that's not like, okay, it's just in my blood. Oh well, you know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm gonna beat this, because that's not how I want to feel. That's not how I want my body to look, and I was a firm believer that I could change that if I put the work in.
And how's that going so far?
It's great, actually, and it's funny because we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but it's totally changed my perception on what is feminine, what is fit, and all of those kinds of things, because coming into this, kind of bikini competition training, I was focused on numbers, on the weight.
And that's what a lot of people are. And you don't realize that. Well, I mean, I guess there's a contradiction. I always believe that muscle weighs more than fat. If you're looking at in volume-wise, a lot of people will be like, oh, that's, horse tails or whatever. But volume-wise, if you look at it volume, muscle is going to weigh more than fat. So when you jump on that scale and maybe you are weighing heavier, you could look awesome and be a heavier person.
Well, when I first started, when I joined the gym, I was like, oh, I lost 15 pounds, yay, but now I'm doing this competition training, which is more structured and very geared towards building muscle. I looked maybe about 15 pounds heavier than I look now, 10 to 15 pounds heavier, but I was only 2 pounds heavier. I've only lost a total of 2 pounds.
It's a very different numbers.
It is.
Yeah.
And Felicia's so funny because she's the kind of girl that she doesn't believe it until she sees it or until she experiences it. So I think, this whole time it was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Like, I'm going to do this, but I don't quite buy in because I haven't seen it. But, you have to believe and you have to follow and you have to trust. And, I think now it's just starting to come together, and we're only 1 week out. But, this is when it all culminates to this point and everything's done in preparation for a specific target.
And I know you kind of go hand in hand with Chris. So how do you get people to trust? Because trust is such a big thing, and you really do need that in the training environment, especially even with your partner. Like, I need to know that you're going to spot me when I'm squatting, or I'm not going to, make the squat, maybe. So how do you cultivate that in the gym environment?
Well, I think it's about the people, whether, you're working one-on-one in our environment, about our team and how we support each other. And we look to Chris, for that answer and for, the leadership and for the methodology. But, and I think, it's also our own discipline and what we bring to the team.
I totally agree
how
with that. It's our personalities.
Yeah, how we ourselves are, and then how the team is as a group, and then how the leader is. And it's like constantly a mishmash of
check
everything.
and balance too.
Yeah.
And I like that we have we're gay. Like, we go in there and we have goals and we train hard.
And everybody's kind of doing their own thing in this system.
Yeah.
Because Felicia's doing it, not quite believing it, but getting the results and kind of treading along. Stacy's doing her own thing and, has her own successes and has her own experience in it, and we're all in this together, but we all take away
Something different.
Yeah, totally different.
And like leading on to that, because I know like when you said that we're all doing our own little thing within this system, it's so true. And just for the general person out there, if you're looking for a trainer, and I think Key mentioned this, I had Key on a while back, but he was saying, if you don't agree with what a trainer is doing with you, or if they're doing the same thing with every single person, you need to really look into that, because everybody's body's different, and we know that just from training together and doing different exercises and like, oh, this is not working for me, or wow, this is really making my hamstrings come in well, or everybody's genetics are different. So trust your trainer. Make sure they're doing what you need them to do. Advice number 2 of the day. So Stacy, how's your experience been? We'll popcorn over to you.
It's been good. So kind of going back, I started the gym kind of for different reasons than Felicia did. I had just moved here and I needed to make friends. So
which is why a lot of people go to the gym. I go to UFC just to kind of be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, so I went more for the social kind of thing, and then I met like all the girls and kind of got really into it, and was always complaining to Pauline about how I wanted a bikini body, and she was like, join our team. So I joined, and I had no idea what to expect, and Chris was like, I don't think you know what you're getting yourself into, but...
Because everybody thinks we do, like, these cute little squats and, like, these side steps with rubber bands,
and on Instagram, all those girls do, like, crazy, like, workout, like, things
weird
with
things,
their girlfriends,
things.
and it's totally not like that.
It's deadlifting, it's a lot of heavy squats, it's a lot of hip thrusters, and,
Yeah, so, I mean, it was hard and challenging, and... I mean, I would go through like lows where I was like, I don't want to go. I just want to eat.
And I totally want to hear about that, like, because the psychology behind it is a big deal too, and everybody experiences that, and I don't think we talk about that enough as like women. You always see like women on television like, yeah, it's great. I get up, I have so much energy, and I go to the gym, and I feel awesome, and it's not like that. Some days you're just like, screw it, I don't want to go, and I want to eat this whole bag of Cheetos. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And like and especially like committing to this team and like all of our training and the diet, your friends want to go out and you're constantly like, I can't go out and I can't eat that, and then they're almost like mad at you, like, okay, well then we're not gonna call you anymore to hang out, and you're like, well, I can go to the beach and
I can do the active things. But that is really hard. That's hard when like other people don't fit into your lifestyle, and I think that's why a lot of couples have trouble too when one member is trying to get into shape and the other one's kind of like
not into it.
Yeah, so it's important to support each other regardless. I think it kind of shows you who your real friends are too. If they're going to support you regardless and be like, yeah, come out to dinner with us. I'm not going to teach you about eating chicken and lettuce for dinner. I'm going to be like, right on.
And watch that ice cream melt in front of you.
I know, that's like the worst part. I went to a meeting once and they ordered ice cream and I like couldn't eat it, and everybody took like one bite, and then I had to sit and watch it like melt. It was like so sad.
Do you guys want to talk more about the psychological aspect of training, or like what have you been through?
It's kind of funny the way that going through this process, just kind of internally and externally, the kind of thoughts that you get from people and the ones that you have of yourself. You know what I mean? It is so true in this process that, you're going to be your own worst critic. You know what I mean? You're going to criticize everything like, oh, for me, it's my
Your
midsection.
stomach, and it's me
you know
too.
what I mean? But for our training partners, it's her legs. It's and we're always gonna say, oh, I wish I had your this, I wish I had your that. But guess what? You're not. So you know what I mean? You're gonna have your legs, and you can have them better. I'm gonna have my abs, and I can have them better if I put in the work.
Right.
And that's kind of one of the things that you just kind of have to internally be okay with. You know what I mean? As far as the outside,
going back, how did you? Because some women just can't do that. So how did you come to terms with that?
I think it was definitely a developmental process of just kind of being like, wow, my body can do really great things. You know what I mean? And then that just kind of snowballs into this kind of ball of positivity that you start to reflect on yourself. Because in the beginning, it's like, man, I'm never going to be able to do that. And once you get past it and once you do it, then you're like, oh, I can do it, And then
so it's like
you're kind of like, oh, I want to go more, I want to go more.
Yeah.
So and then you just kind of see, okay, I'm doing this much. and I'm putting in X amount of work, and this is what my body looks like. So if I put in X amount more, will it look like this? And then it's kind of trial and error because everybody's body is different. But then that's where the knowledge of fitness and how bodies work and how bodies are different really comes into play. And I think that all just kind of comes with, you know, going through this process. Because we were like second graders coming into this, like, wait, what? You know, even when Maile joined our group, we had no idea, you know what I mean, that it was going to be this intense. We thought we were doing a bang out job of like, and she comes in and she just kind of rips them, and we're like, oh man, like we got a long way to go, guys.
Different
You know?
level of training.
Yeah, you know, it's a different focus, and then so you know, it's just for me, especially with food, it was very trial and error, because my body reacts really quickly to everything now, because you know, with such a strict diet, anything that I put into my mouth, I will feel right away. You know, like, you know, I would cheat and be like, it's just one piece of chocolate, and then I instantly, physically, you feel it, and then mentally, you feel
You
it.
feel guilty.
It's like your body's more sensitive.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a short commercial break, guys. I'm having so much fun. Can't wait to come back. This is the Empower Hour. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. I'm here with Pauline, Felicia, and Stacy. Come back and watch more of our powwow. Have a good one.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host
Oh,
of
you guys are
Center
doing
Stage
good.
here on
We
the
have a minute.
ThinkTech digital series.
Felicia's really
The
good.
show
Killing
is
it.
every Wednesday from 2 o'clock.
We will. We'll jump over
this.
this.
And I want you to watch this show because I think that when we talk with artists on the show about what they do, how they do it, and most importantly, why they do it, I believe that it resonates within each of us, and we find something inside of ourselves that brings us closer to all of humanity. That's what arts are there to do, and that's what I'm here to do on this show. That's Center Stage. It's on every Wednesday from 2 to 3 o'clock. I hope to see you there.
Hi, aloha. My name is Chris Leatham, and I host a show called The Economy and You. The show plays every Wednesday at noon, and on my show, I bring on guests who are interested or working in the technology space. And so I'd like you to come and watch the show and learn with me about all the sort of exciting things that we're doing in Hawaii to build and grow our economy ecosystem. So I'd like to say aloha, and I look forward to seeing you on the show. Thank you.
Inspired by an ancient culture, classical Chinese dance, vigorous physicality, timeless stories, 5,000 years of Chinese music and dance. Shen Yun presents authentic Chinese culture. Coming to Blaisdell Concert Hall, May 8th and 9th. Tickets at shenyun.com or call 808-792-3919.
Welcome back to the Empower Hour, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. We are here with Pauline, Felicia, and Stacy. We are talking about training and our experiences with training, and Felicia was just talking about the mental components and the physical components, and you want to just dive back into where we left off?
Yeah, that was a good commercial break because I don't really remember. You know, that's kind of the internal of just kind of getting over the humps yourself. You know, what challenges and what obstacles you face about your own body, about your own mentality, and your own willpower.
And I know what I was going to say is sometimes, I mean, because as women, we always all struggle with, like, the body image, I think. I don't know, maybe you guys don't. I do. I think everybody does at some point. And I think it's looking at the other aspects of yourself that are really great. Like, on days when I feel like, oh my God, my midsection, woohoo, I'm like, I got banging hamstrings, like, or, you know, my butt's looking pretty good, or, you know. So it's picking out the positives and being proud of yourself for accomplishing something.
And I think socially it's been really interesting too, because I've never been, you know, like I would never have considered myself fat or overweight or anything like that, but I did take a fitness test at work one time and they told me I was obese.
Wrong.
Yeah, it was really intense.
Oh, that's crazy.
But those are things that kind of mess you up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That are kind of like, wait, you know, and you're like, if you looked at me, no, you wouldn't say, okay, this girl is obese. But then just from their measurements, their numbers, I was considered obese. And they put me in health counseling and all
Oh
this.
my God.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of cool that your work has that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little I think I'd be offended, but at the
needed.
same time, that's kind of neat that they give that option.
No, it's good that they kind of make health a priority. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it was just kind of funny that I fell into that category. And they were just like, well, you are kind of.
Is that based off your weight and height thing?
Yeah.
The BMI chart?
Yeah. So it's so off. You know what I mean?
BMIs are off. They were invented for people in
Yeah.
Europe, so it's for a different population than our population here in America. So yeah, it's kind of like when I hear that.
Yeah.
And then going off of that, I know from volleyball, that kind of I would get messed up by that too. I feel like I'm in such good shape, and then I'd be like I think I was like 18%, and they told me I was too high and I needed to come down, and the normal woman is like in the 20s. And so I was like, whoa, okay. And that was always something that played with my head. And that was like all of us. And so, yeah. I mean, it does affect you.
Stigma attached
Yeah.
to being overweight or the word obese. Well, you know what I mean?
Especially for women.
Well, I think the whole stigma, has a lot to do with numbers, and we're so numbers driven as to whether it's how many pounds you weigh or how much percentage body fat you have, or, all these numbers, and we're so driven by numbers, and you can say a number and that's the end all be all, but it's so far from the truth because there's so much that, other truths that surround a number. Because, hey, if you're 100 pounds, you could be 100 pounds unhealthy.
Right.
And if you're 180 pounds, you could be 180 pounds super healthy.
Or you could be 100 pounds and not be able to squat anything.
Yeah.
Just joking. Well, I find it squatting, squatting for me,
it's possible.
Squatting. And so, yeah.
That's why I think for us, what we do and how we measure our levels of fitness and our bodies is so important because it's a more realistic picture. Like I said earlier, I've only lost 2 pounds, but when you look at the progress of the physical pictures of where my body started
It's
and where
completely
it's come,
changed.
it's totally changed.
And it's not all about, like you said, it's not all about the numbers and how much you lost. It's about the journey too.
And just strength-wise, as far as what I'm able to lift and do, my endurance and stamina just in my daily life has obviously improved also, and that is something that plays into all of that, especially mentally, because you know yourself that you're improving, and then you stop looking at the numbers, and I think that helps, especially for women, so much because
Completely,
we are
that's
so fixated
such a good
on
point.
Yeah.
What do you think, Stacy?
Well, I'm like the same as Felicia when we first started, and kind of going off what Pauline was saying earlier, I don't know, my first 2 or 3 weigh-ins, I was gaining weight, but it was all muscle and my body fat was still going down, but I was so fixated on, I gained 2 pounds and then I gained 3 pounds. But then she would show me the pictures that we were taking, and I mean, it changes, and because the numbers were going up, I was convinced that I wasn't improving, and hearing from other people oh, you look like you've been losing weight, and I'd be like, no, I'm gaining weight. Then seeing the pictures, and you're like, oh, I am changing, my body is changing. So then it helps you see it's different. It's not so much based on the number that you see, right?
Because you can't really tell as a person either. You
Yeah,
see
it's
yourself
hard.
every single day. And so I know people will give me feedback and I'm like, really? I don't see that at all. But thanks for telling me that. Yeah. And then you kind of look back and sometimes you will see it.
Yeah, it's hard to see the change in yourself, I think.
And I think ultimately the numbers are a guide rather than the answer.
Yeah. Oh,
that
that's
we
such a good
use
point.
them to set the direction as to what we need to do. Like Felicia, if her numbers started dropping, which might be, oh great, I'm losing weight, but no, she's losing muscles, then yes, we'd be concerned. So we use that as a guide to how to plan our next steps. But to say that I want to be 115 pounds by June the 1st, that doesn't really mean anything.
No.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was kind of like that.
Beforehand.
Yeah, but the other thing too is when people find out that you're training or it looks like you've been losing weight, the first thing they ask you is how much weight have you lost? And you're like nothing.
Yeah.
Or how do you do it? I get
Yeah.
that a lot. What are you doing? And I'm like, I've been doing this for 3 months and now you're asking me. I'll tell you what I'm doing, but it's not gonna,
Yeah.
work right off the bat. Yeah. Yeah, everybody has a different
Perception.
of
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
what's going on. And then what's your experience been like mentally? Because you're kind of at this point where every workout matters. At least that's how I am. I'm every workout matters, and if I need an improvement someplace, I need to do this exercise, and I need to do it until I can't do it. And I don't know if you're like that regardless.
I don't
or
think
We don't train like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I don't think I'm that intense with my training. I mean, I still want to see improvements and do better in the gym and stuff, but I mean, I don't think each training session is as important for me as it is for you guys, right? Like each training session for you guys matters.
Yeah. And and so then mentally, like, what do you do when you go in?
When I'm
Or
having
have
a
you-
bad day.
Yeah, or have you had like you were talking earlier about like the lulls that you go through, or
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have days where I don't want to go and I would rather just eat. And I think at this point in my training, I'm kind of, if I want to like go out and eat lunch, I'll go out and eat lunch. I mean, I'll try and be healthy, but I know that as long as I stay on track, then every once in a while it's okay if I
Right.
have, if I go out and eat what I want, you know? Like, I don't, for me, I think that's why I can't do a bikini competition, because I don't want to give up
nope, we're gonna make you do
all
one.
of the eating, right? I can't give up ice cream.
I'm really like set on making like a diet plan that is so good nobody can like not do it, and then it's like a bikini diet plan, and I mean, how great would that be?
Yeah.
And everybody would, I guess not great, because then everybody would compete, but. So the psychological aspect.
The diet for me, I think, is the hardest
the
part.
hardest part.
Yeah, psychologically, for sure.
And the training, you're cool.
I mean, if Chris came and told me, if you work out every day, twice a day, and you can eat whatever you want, and you'll compete in bikini competitions, I would be all in. I could easily train twice a day, every day, and eat whatever I want.
Is it because you like training, or?
I like training. I mean, I don't mind. I like working out.
Because it makes you feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah, those endorphins. And let's talk about you. What about you?
I think I'm kind of in the same place as Stacy, that training is something different for us, that we're not, working towards a
Move
target.
your hair out of yours. There we go, perfect.
I mean, having a specific competition day is a great target because, it's very specific what you need to do. But, like ours is a moving target. We constantly want to move forward. And the way we do it, we have a little bit more leeway, that we know that, we've got to train, we know we've got to eat well, maybe not as tight as a competitor. But, I mean, ultimately, I think it's this group that keeps us going. If we weren't together the 3 days a week, my training would be a lot more random, and I have to find those patterns in my schedule for me to, stick to it.
I completely agree. Like, knowing that you're competing, I feel like I have to uphold a certain level so that I can help get you there, like, for some reason. So when it's, like, time to go, I'm like, okay, I need to lift heavier because I need to push her. And so then it makes me do better than I would just being by myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, like, I really value that about our team.
Yeah, and I think, the journey to fitness, often it's a very lonely journey. Like when you talk about, things you can't do when you're competing, like you can't go out with your friends and you can't eat this meal with your coworkers. And it could be very lonely if you're doing this by yourself and you have a specific goal. But I think the beauty of our group in particular is that, we're all there to support each other. And if we are off on one meal, we know we'll be better on the next one.
Right.
And we can talk about it. It's not, a sin. And I just don't know what we're going to do when this,
Group is.
yeah.
I think we should just keep trudging.
We definitely do
Miley
want
has
to
her
roll it.
competition.
I have my comp. I need
So-
you guys. That's
I mean,
right.
there's
I'll
at
be
least July.
competing in nationals in July, on July 24th, in Vegas. So I'm really excited about that.
So
I'm
we'll-
trying to talk them into coming with me so that we can
Spectators,
have a
yeah.
spectators, some supporters. Yay! Because it always helps when you have supporters.
Mhm.
So we'll be selling brownies and cookies to fundraise for our trip.
We were talking about kind of the stigmas too, like, and the stereotypes, and then like I'd like to talk more about that. Okay, first we're gonna go to commercial.
Oh, okay.
That was a little awkward, but yeah, we're gonna go to commercial first. It's time for a commercial. You guys need a break, potty break, popcorn, go make some. We will be right back. This is the Empower Hour, and I'm your host, Maile Scarpino.
What do you mean, like stereotypes of,
Okay.
like women's
Aloha,
bodies, or
welcome
like?
to Hawaii Sports Update. I'm your host PJ, and this is the weekly sports update. The Duke Blue Devils pulled away late in the second half behind two big back-breaking threes from all-world freshman point guard Tyus Jones to pull away from a tough Wisconsin Badger squad. The 68-63 victory by Duke gave Coach K his 5th national title, and his own legendary status continues to grow, as his current resume is second only to the great John Wooden. Tyus Jones was the tournament's most outstanding player in leading the Blue Devils down the stretch, with their big man Jamil Okafor and swingman Winslow were in foul trouble for most of the second half. Although Okafor had a couple of big hoops on a late 14-3 run, it was Jones and his crucial 23 points, including 2 humongous threes, that put an end to Wisconsin's final run. And we'll be talking about some of the other key characters with Coach Salido a little bit later. The UH women's softball team continued Big West play last week, taking 2 out of 3 from longtime rival Cal State Fullerton to improve to 4-2 in conference play and 26-13 overall. The Rainbow Wahine continue league play this weekend at Rainbow Wahine Stadium against the always tough Long Beach State, with a single game on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday night, with the latter of the games starting at 4 p.m. Hawaii time. Starting shortstop Serena Jarmillo leads the Lady Bows in hitting with a .340 average, while Heather Morales and Kyler Wartner are hitting .324 and .318 respectively. Keiki Carlos is also bordering right around the 300 mark as well, but the Rainbow Wahine have found a power surge that they have been lacking the past couple of seasons. They have blasted 39 home runs as this team and has only given up 18 long balls. Kyla Warner leads the way with 8 jacks on the year. The Wahine are also getting steady pitching from Ina Cabrales, who bears most of the load for the pitching staff and has a respectable 2.48 ERA on the year to go along with her 13 victories. Looks like Coach Bob Coolin have the Wahine geared up for another NCAA tournament run. Finishing up, #1 ranked men's volleyball team took to action early last week in beating UC San Diego and battling UCLA, defeating both teams on the road in the always brutal Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. The Rainbow Warriors come back to the Stan Sheriff to take on the traditionally tough Stanford Cardinal team. Last week's victories put the Warriors at 21-3 overall and 16-2 in conference. That win over the Bruins put the Bows' winning streak at 14 games. The UH volleyball hit squad continues to get major contributions from senior Brooks Sador, Siki the Hammer Zarkovic, and All-American middle Tyler Averill. Senior Scott Hartley and local boy Capono Faye have also made major contributions to the team. The Rainbow Warriors have already clinched a home playoff game this year and are looking to continue their winning ways. Good luck, Coach Charlie Wade and the boys as they head towards the latter part of their conference schedule. This is PJ with your weekly sports update here on ThinkTech Hawaii. Thanks for joining us and see you next week.
Inspired by an ancient culture, classical Chinese dance, vigorous physicality, timeless stories, 5,000 years of Chinese music and dance, Shen Yun presents authentic Chinese culture. Coming to Blaisdell Concert Hall, May 8th and 9th. Tickets at shenyun.com or call 808-792-3919.
Welcome back to the Empower Hour, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino. I'm here with Pauline, Felicia, and Stacy. We're going to talk more about prep life a little bit, especially staying on track in those social settings and gatherings where everybody else is eating and partying or doing whatever they want, and you're that person that's like, I can't have that, I can't eat that, and how you deal with that. I was saying while we were on commercial, I don't deal very well with it. I'm kind of like snappy and defensive with it. Sometimes I need to work on that. Just because I'm like, bro, why are you coming at me? Why do you care if I'm eating chicken and broccoli? You're not eating it, it doesn't matter. So how would you guys respond, or what is your thought about that?
Well, I think for me, I kind of get stuck in the middle because I want to eat it just as much as they want me to eat it. So it's more like convincing myself, reminding myself, I guess, that I committed to this, right? And I need to make these better choices, because otherwise then it's just like a downward spiral.
And Felicia, how do you?
For me, I mean, right now, it's a really extreme diet, and I know in my head that it's not something that's manageable to do on a daily basis.
Sustainable, right?
Yeah, so I know that there's an endpoint, and I know that I'm eating this way because I'm competing in something,
And
and
you have a
that's the
goal.
competition part.
Right.
The competition doesn't happen on the stage for me. It happens in the process of getting to the stage. That's where everybody's bodies get built, and then you just bring whatever you've built onto that stage. You know what I mean? So because I know that I'm in this competition, any negativity that comes in, like during the break, I was telling Maya that I've had people kind of comment on, my food, and like, that makes me so sad that you have to eat that, and I'm just kind of like, well, it makes me feel really good because I see the progress in my body, so it makes me happy. So I'm sorry that it makes you sad, but
I think it's
I'm very
sometimes just
happy.
realizing
Yeah.
that people aren't happy where they are, and so that they're gonna kind of latch on to your success or to your improvement and try to bring you down, and you just gotta be like, I'm staying up here, I'm strong. That right
Yeah.
there.
But normally outside of competition, like once you kind of adopt, fitness is definitely a lifestyle.
It's such a lifestyle.
And that's where the knowledge plays in, you know what I mean? Because I definitely changed my diet a lot, but I enjoy the foods that I eat because...
Can you give us an example? Like, can you tell us what you ate before compared to, like, what you're eating now?
Sure. Like, okay, so before, I would just, during the week, I would kind of food prep, not really, just a lot of, like, chicken and healthier foods. If I wanted to eat something like, I'm sorry, but I love McDonald's French fries. I love Taco Bell. So I would go, but in moderation, everything in moderation, as long as you know that, okay, I mean, it's not a surprise to anyone that McDonald's French fries are not good for you,
Right.
So,
Yes, they are.
potatoes, veggies. But, so you just kind of listen to your body, and it's all in the outcome of what you want for your body. So, and I was eating the way that what I wanted for my body. So I would have a lot of salads, a lot of fresh fruits and veggies, but everything with flavor. I'm luckily before this I didn't like pizza, but now that I'm on this strict diet of just proteins, which is like just pretty much chicken breasts and veggies and fish and veggies, I don't discriminate. I can.
You want a
eat
big fat pizza?
Yeah, and I will, and I probably will eat a lot of pizza after this, but you know the consequences of what you eat. You know what I mean? And that's where the moderation comes in, and that's where, during the week I know, okay, I'm gonna eat healthy, and I'm gonna deserve all of the kind of like YOLO meals at the end of the week.
YOLO's you only live once. Just in case you didn't know that, I hope you didn't know that.
That's my guilt-free YOLO meal.
So in terms of fitness today and training and our generation, where do you think it's going? Do you think it's like heading in a positive direction? What are the negatives that you see? You can just anybody.
Well, I think it's funny because there are definitely trends, that kind of the media and society kind of set this picture of what is feminine and what beauty is and what a woman should look like. There are these things of skinny is the new strong. Oh, look at Sports Illustrated, they're putting an overweight model on the cover, you know what I mean? So those really shape the definitions that we have of what it should be, but strong is the new skinny is what it is, right? But and in essence, even though I consider myself somebody who's into fitness, I don't necessarily agree with that, because what was the old skinny, you know what I mean? And I think going through this process for myself, even in this competition where I'm a competitor in this bikini thing, it's like, well, what are the judges looking for? Yeah, you have your basic standards, but it's so subjective. If I was standing next to a girl with the exact same body as me, who would win?
Right.
And it's completely subjective, and I think the words, beauty is in the eye of the beholder could not be more true. As long as you feel that where your body is at is what you feel is beautiful, you're gonna be happy.
So a lot of that comes with mindset.
Yeah, especially even in looking for a partner, you're gonna want somebody that has the same vision of beautiful and feminine as you do, which is what you make your body to be. And I think that's where a lot of the internal kind of contentment with where your body is at comes from.
And how do you get there?
For me, it was just I knew that before I started working out, I was really in this place of I know that my body can look better. And it doesn't look better because I eat the way that I do and I don't work out as much as I probably should, and I know that I can get there. You know what I mean? But then I just kind of realized, okay, well, my body is not really, I don't have a tiny waist, and I'll never have a tiny waist.
Right.
but I'm happy with where I'm at right now. And it really is just the internal dialogue that you have with yourself of kind of pushing out all of that noise of, well, women should have tiny waists. Well, guess what? I'm a woman and I wasn't born with one.
I love that.
Yeah.
We have 4 minutes left, so let's just keep talking about this because this is a good topic. What is your opinion?
I think there's a lot of curiosity about fitness and body types and, you know, what's normal or, you know, what fits into this mold of what a woman should be. And I think ultimately it is all in people's own headspace as to, you know, where they're at and where they want to be. And it's really just closing that gap. And I think some people have very interesting ideals, like that, you know, really skinny is really pretty or something. But, you know, I think as long as you're content, and if you're not, you do the work that's necessary to get there. That's what makes people happy.
Yeah.
And I think when you avoid that work, that's what makes it
Yeah,
one
because you have this
unhappy.
internal, like,
Meter
yeah.
in yourself.
And it's a little
Yeah.
overwhelming when you're not where you think you should be.
Yeah.
I have that with my grad work right now because I know I should be finishing my MA paper, and I'm like, haha, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. You yourself know.
Yeah,
And
you
you
always
are the
know.
judge,
Yep.
really. And like Felicia, if she knows that her abs are not her thing, you know, everyone's got their thing.
We were talking
And as
about that
long
the
as
other
we're
night.
like, my thing is I'm never going to have long, thin legs. But, you know, it's like you just work with what you have. And as long as you know you're working to the best of your ability, that's all we can say
can't
at the
be
end of
mad
the
at
day.
yourself, yeah.
That's great.
You can control the process, but not the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
about you, Stacy? What do you think?
I mean, I agree with what the both of you guys say. I think when I tried to kind of get fit on my own, I thought it was like cardio and I just wanted to be skinny. But then since joining the gym and training and lifting, I realized that I want to look fit. Like, I don't want to look like I'm just skinny all the time. I want to look like I work out at the gym and you can tell that I work out, right? So I think it's like that kind of that mentality too, that I want other people to see and know that I'm not just naturally skinny.
And I think it helps when you surround yourself with positive people or people
Yeah.
that are like-minded with you. And I think it's getting out of those relationships where you're punishing yourself for not being like what the other person is or like what the other person thinks is important. And like I said, surrounding yourself like beautiful ladies like you, where we all have the same aspiration, goals, and thought processes. Yeah. Well, with that, I think we can come to a close. I'd like to thank you all for coming.
Yeah,
I
thanks
really
for having
appreciate
us.
it. Had fun with this little powwow. This is the Empower Hour, guys. I'm your host, Maile Scarpino, and I was here with Pauline, Felicia, and Stacy today. Thank you. I will be seeing you next Friday, same time, 3. Come watch. Have a good one. Thanks. Yay! Actually, I won't be here.